Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Amazing Outdoors. This podcast is being presented by Upland Outfitters, home of the Relentless pants, man. Those things are awesome. I had them out this week, and I pretty much, since I started the partnership with Jason, have been wearing those pants out anytime over the summer here where I had to do any work at the farm or dog training. I've even had them on the boat a little bit. They are tough as nails. I have yet to see a pull 'em thread. I've been in some nasty briars. They really held up a lot better than I thought. I can't recommend them enough. Hunting season is around the corner. Make sure you use discount code AMAZING, and I believe Jason is still offering 20% off on the Relentless pants. So pick up a pair before hunting season is upon us, and you're out in the woods with a ripped up pair of pants and sweating, unnecessarily, because Jason's pants and the Relentless pants are top notch and breathable, light. So you're going to want them this early season. Make sure you get them now. I also have a quick announcement. We've got another kind of temporary partnership with Chippewa River Custom Rods. Tom is going to be offering 10% off with discount code AMAZING10. AMAZING10. And it's all caps. If you decide to call him for a custom rod, just make sure you tell him that you heard about custom rods on Amazing Outdoors podcast, and he will make sure that you get hooked up with a discount. All that information for both sponsors and partners are going to be in the show notes, so please support the podcast and these great companies. They are really good partners for the podcast, and I would like to see our listeners support them as well. So look them up, Uplnd Outfitters and Chippewa River Custom Rods. Enjoy today's show. Welcome to Amazing Outdoors. On this podcast, you will hear about our adventures, chasing all kinds of different game here in the heartland of America. We live and breathe outdoors. We hunt, we fish, and we absolutely love being outside. It is not just a passion, it is a way of life. Thanks everyone for coming back. This is episode 7. I have to give a special thanks to all you listeners. It's been amazing so far. I can't believe we've had the response. And just thank you. I guess a double special thank you to one of the listeners, Patrick, for reaching out. And I've enjoyed our little conversation and a couple emails, and I hope we can get out fishing this summer. And a shout out to the folks in Nebraska. Thanks a lot for downloading the podcast. Before I introduce the guest today, I want to let you know that I've got some deals coming for you listeners. I've got a great product and a guy who kind of resonated with me. It's an American-made product. I hope to be revealing this here in the next few weeks for you all. Stay tuned for that. I'm pretty excited. I'm hoping to get these things out and get a little working into them too, so I can really give you a good review. Number 2 is I want to make sure that if everybody's listening, if you're tuning in today, just take the extra step. Make sure you hit the download button so you can get the latest podcast. We're going to be releasing some more stuff coming up here. I've got a mini series I'm working on. I'm not even going to tease much more of that. It's about some unique stuff in Wisconsin I'd like to share with you guys. So today I have a really cool in-studio guest, Minnesota boy by the name of Keng Yeng. He's starting a brand called Minnesota Hunter. He's got a kind of a mission of inclusivity and outreach, as well as advocacy for hunters, kind of a one-stop shop resource for people who are looking to get into hunting for the first time and help other people explore and get into some of these things. Keng and I kind of got introduced. I heard him on another podcast. His mission really resonated with me. He loves nothing more but to mentor new hunters, and I thought that his way of going about attracting new hunters was extremely unique. I thought I'd get him on the podcast here today and share his story with you all. Him and I have some common interests, so that's where we really kind of hit things off, and I hope you all enjoy it. You know, our common interests are birds, dogs, and sharing the outdoors with everybody else. So this is episode 7. All right. Well, I got a really interesting in-person studio guest. Actually third. Two of my buddies came over and recorded podcasts. So yeah. You're the first real guest interview on the podcast here in the Amazing Outdoor Studio. So I've got Keng here. I'm not going to steal your thunder. Go ahead. Tell everybody who you are.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks, Brian, for having me.
Yeah, no, it's been really fun connecting on Instagram. So.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you found me through the podcast with the Flush, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I listened to those guys and I'm like, and then I had a buddy of mine who was, hey, you should reach out to Keng. And I'm okay. Yeah. And then I think one message and a bunch of talking in between here and there, but here you are.
Here we are, right? Thanks for having me. It's this whole journey so far has been pretty fun, and I love doing this kind of stuff, and just helping other people, other hunters as well. So
same here. I'm kind of we kind of hit it off that way.
Yeah.
So you kind of have a super unique story, and that is really why I reached out to you, because it was so different from mine. I grew up in a family who hunted. I mean, it was a cornerstone of our family. And I've had friends along the way who didn't have the same family setting, and they kind of glabbed on, but they still probably haven't jumped in like you.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I grew up around hunting too. My dad was like an avid hunter.
Yeah.
Like
but you were an anti-hunter.
I was an anti-hunter.
Yes. That was the big thing.
Yep. Every time I see him bring something home from the field, it's like, I don't want to go look at it. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to like even think about it, you know? So, I grew up around it, and I was always against it because, you know, it's an animal, a living creature that, you know, you've killed, right?
Yeah. And
so I just could never bear myself to, like, you know, kill an animal pretty much, or the thought of seeing it dying is was intimidating for me, right? And,
well, I don't want to interject, but I'll be honest with you. It's getting harder and harder and harder for me. I mean, you came in, you saw the racks.
Yeah.
And, I've killed a lot of deer before, and the last few, it's just still taking a life, and I explained this to somebody else. It's a respect thing.
Yes.
And I've just grown a lot more respectful of how precious life is all in general out of it.
Yep.
And as the older I get, you know, it just seems to be more and more important.
Yeah. And I mean, from when I was younger, like I always respected animals, you know, like any kind of bird that would fall down, I'd, you know, pick it up or help it, you know, bring it, you know.
And I was the opposite. I was like, oh yeah, Dad hunts. Let's go get the, you know, squirt guns and act like we're hunting, you know. And I mean, not that we're malicious about it.
But you're young.
We were interested into hunting where, you know, we didn't understand maybe the finite of life, where you grew that respect as a young person, where I didn't understand it until later. It's kind of how, you know.
Yeah. So I was like kind of reverse of you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, that pretty much all changed with me when I got my dog. And so when I got my dog, she's a German Wirehair Pointer. She's 4 now. So I kind of use her age just to remember when I started hunting because, the years are, even though it's been 4 years of hunting, if every field now seems like it's blurring together. And it's hard to track, but now I have to remember okay, Kaya's 4, okay, I started 4 years ago pheasant hunting. So yeah, it's.
Yeah, Rebel 6. So yeah, that's kind of when I made my pivot from, sitting in a deer stand to doing a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it changed with her because she's a hunting dog.
Mm-hmm.
I understood that, and I wanted it. I respect animals, living creatures, and so I wanted to provide her the best life that she could have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to do that is to let her hunt. And who's gonna hunt with her, right? So
you have to.
You have to, right?
Well, you being and I know that people own some of these dogs and they don't hunt. But the effort that you have to go through to find a mission for that animal.
Yeah.
You saw my little one today, and she needs a mission every day. But don't have a mission. She's a little bit of a pain in the butt.
Exactly.
And I couldn't imagine what it would be like if I didn't have that outlet for the dog.
Exactly.
And to fulfill their kind of almost destiny.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Because I could have went the other route, which would be I don't know, track. Do dogs do track or?
Well,
track and field, agility.
Agility. That's what it is.
Yeah. No, I could have went, agility route. Just go have her as a house dog. Jogging. Walking, stuff like that. But she was bred for a purpose, right? And her mission and purpose is to hunt and to use all those skills that was bred into her. And so I really wanted to pull that out and make sure that she uses that, in her life.
The cognitive function that it takes.
Yeah.
Playing with a ball is only so exciting for them.
Right.
They were bred to do more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And you need a scenario where they can let some of that out. Even if you don't hunt them, big yard or something where they can kind of hunt and not, just that, my city lot's not working anymore. Luckily I have time and we go places to do that. But I can imagine, some people who don't have the outlet. And,
I know.
And so I understand where you kind of came from. That's kind of how I went about getting a dog is my daughter wanted a dog. And I said, well, okay, I'll get a dog if the dog can hunt. Yeah, and we set it up. They're settled on the German dogs, and that's kind of how I honestly pivoted into all the bird hunting, and because I just was sitting in a tree stand kind of that first season. Yeah, every time I was in the tree stand, all I thought about was a dog.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's been harder and harder and harder every year since.
Yeah. That's me too. Every time I'm in the field. Even turkey hunting, I hate kind of turkey hunting because my dog can't be there with me. You know what I mean? They can't be there to watch it with, or watch outside with you and just be your company. 2 seasons.
That's in the last 6. It's all I could give it. It's because of that exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even going fishing.
Oh yeah, fishing. I bring her with me. Guaranteed.
I do too. But I've got a drift boat, and it's a little more challenging when you've got one dog that wants to ride on the bow of the boat going down a rocky river and rapids. Yeah.
You gotta be a little more cautious for their safety, right?
Well, you just get a limited amount of people that want to put up with that.
Oh yeah.
And not that I have people that decline to go fishing with me because of it. It just don't ask that many people. My wife and I take them on the boat, and I got one boat dog. I got one not so boat dog. Not so good fishing dog.
Yeah.
She just loves the lure. And then she'll bark on, you throw a lure out and she'll, when it comes out of the water, she just kind of half goes for it. Don't like that. And I can't teach her not to do it. I've tried with the collar, and, she'll do it for a little while and then right back there. It's that prey drive in them.
Yeah.
And she doesn't quite get that she sees the fish come out of the water every now and again, and she thinks, there's a fish coming. There's a fish coming.
Yeah.
The other one just lays at the bottom of the boat.
Yeah.
She's the best boat dog I've never seen a German dog lay like that. you duck hunt, so
Yeah.
you get your dogs to sit.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder how she would do. Well, but she's the wild one. I don't know. You can't be on shore. That's for certain.
No. Yeah, even my dog in a blind, she'll get antsy, like not antsy, but then she'll get tired of sitting. And
does she?
Yeah, I'll let her run around or walk around for a bit. Let her go smell around and have her come back and sit. But it's all about just being outdoors, right?
Well, and that's the big thing.
Yeah,
we go just for walks in places that I can let them off leash just to be outside.
Yeah.
That's half my excuse these days to leave the house. When you work from home, you got to find them sometimes.
Yeah, but I think it's paying off for sure now. Like I'm really glad I went that route with my dog. You know what I mean? Went to go hunting, got involved in hunting.
Look what it's brought you.
It's like changed my life. Like it's completely flipped my.
So how did before we kind of get too much further about some of the things that it's changed your life in, how did you get over? What was it that kind of? I mean, because for me, birds, I still don't quite have that emotional attachment to, as say, shoot a whitetail and I watch it die. That to me is just become a tougher situation. I guess I'm a softie. I don't know, but birds, I think the interaction with the animal is typically so quick. There isn't that time beforehand or the time afterwards that, and then you get the dog enjoyment. But
yeah, I
never was an anti-hunter. So what was it kind of that helped you besides? Was it just the dog or?
Yeah, it was just the dog. Because I know she's a dog. She eats, right? Naturally she eats meat, right? And so I'm like, if I really think about it, if I'm hunting and I'm shooting meat, it's in the wild. She's actually, like hunting for herself too.
Yeah.
And then but we get a bonus because I get to eat the bird. But
well, and there isn't anything more organic.
Yeah, exactly.
And lean. I mean, these birds they eat and survive in the wild for a living instead of a pen. Very lean meat. So,
and I also consider them like chickens. So that's why I was like, okay, I could see a pheasant as a chicken. I mean, you look at it, you probably call it a chicken if you were a kid or a toddler, right? If you didn't know what it was.
If you didn't know what it was, you were
like, oh, that's a chicken.
Yeah.
So that's like
it's in the same like visual category.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what kind of helped break that emotional tie with a wild animals.
So have you gotten into any other hunting? Are you duck hunting?
Yep.
Pheasant hunting and bird hunting.
Yep.
Did you get into deer hunting?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I was talking to Mark Norquist from Modern Carnivore.
Sure, yeah.
And he was like, yeah, it's he brought up a good point that usually if an animal has eyes and lashes, lashes especially, that like you bring that kind of like emotional attachment to it, that animal.
Yeah. For me, I love bow hunting. That's kind of what my big passion was back in the day. And I don't know, you end up shooting a few deer and they don't go very far and you watch them die, and it's just a whole experience that really brings home the fact that A, you killed something, and B, your life is really finite. I mean, that's how finite it is.
Yep, exactly.
And it's just a big emotional kind of overwhelming setting sometimes for me. I'm not like I'm crying, bawling in the woods, but it makes you choke up for a second. It makes me think about all the people I know that have died, and it just brings that whole death portion of your life front and center. Yeah. And that's just to me, that's kind of the worst part of it. But then there's the whole aspect of, well, if that deer never walked in front of my stand before, he'd still be alive today. Right. So it's you're impacting not only an animal, but the animal herd, your nature around you. Yep. And there's, I don't want to say consequences, but you're disrupting things. Yeah. And it's really evident, I think, when you shoot a large game animal. And again, not so much maybe when you see your dog working a bird and seeing something else fulfill it's another animal fulfill its destiny. Yeah. It's and that's kind of what Eric Peterson, the photographer I told you about, we interviewed a couple weeks ago. That's kind of what he was saying too, with the introduction for kids and just he started them out in the duck blind and then kind of transitioned them a little bit into the uplands, and they really took on as young boys. They're coming of age to hunt, and they both enjoyed it enjoyed it the last season. So
that's good.
Yeah, and you know, it's a difficult thing to get past from your aspect, and I understand and not having gone there yet.
Right, and I'm not ready to, like, you know, like I just know I'm not emotionally ready to go there yet. You know what I mean? Like, to shoot a deer, see it die, and, you know, go through that. You know, just the whole death part of it for a mammal, especially. You know.
Well, we'll have to get you one of these bear dogs that they raise over in Wisconsin. Did you know they chase black bears in Wisconsin with dogs?
Oh no, I've heard of like cougars and
bobcats, raccoons. Yeah, the coonhound stuff.
Yeah.
No, but these are bred dogs for bear dogs. Yeah. I mean, some of them use blue tick hounds, but I forget. I can't remember the name, the breed. It was on the tip of my tongue before I mentioned it, and then, then you might have a reason to, you know, transition into something like that. Yeah. I'm just giving you crap, man. You know, I got a bear tag in Wisconsin this fall, so it was on my mind.
Yeah, no, I think bears and predators too. I'm not ready for it as well, because, you know, they hunt to eat, right, and so. I don't know. It's just
a whole circle of life.
Yeah, it's a whole circle of life, but like there's such a big creature and such a beautiful creature, right? You almost have to submit to, you know, it's living being, right? Like,
yeah. No, I understand. You know, and I am not a big bear hunter. That's not, you know, a huge passion of mine. I enjoy kind of the baiting aspect of it, and seeing a lot of the different bears. That kind of the variety, especially where we are, we're really not in traditionally great bear territory. And last season I had let a friend and his son hunt and helped him out. I surprisingly had a lot of time on my hands in preparation for that hunt, the career change. Yeah. But I knew I had enough points, and the landowner and the neighbors had a lot of problems with bears in the last few years up there, because they're not being hunted in that kind of, I would say, 10-mile square radius. So after seeing some of these bears and seeing some of the really big bears, I almost felt a duty to actually apply for the kill tag, because there's too many bears in that area. And I mean,
I'm not against it at all.
No,
I'm personally not ready for it.
Well, I'm just kind of telling you, you know, I'm it's not something that I like to do every year either. And sometimes I have to look for other reasons than just I got a bear tag to go out and bear hunt. Right. You see one of the big bucks I shot just above you, and it's like I look at that all the time, and you know, that was almost 20 years ago now.
Oh wow! And
you know, it's been a long time respect with that animal. Yeah. It just unique story and stuff, but. Yeah, so that I don't know. They're big animals, and like you said, they're a creature moreover, and than the illusion of a bird.
Right.
So let's get into a little bit about really kind of, now people understand your transition as a hunter. What you're doing now, because I think I think, you know, I think a lot of people should look up to you, because
you're too kind.
Well, you're taking a different approach, and I think that's what's needed in our community. Yeah, and so tell us about like Minnesota Hunter and kind of some of your volunteer work.
Yeah. So, you know, when I got in the field, and because I was an anti-hunter, right, and I mean, I thought I knew nature. Like, I was like, okay, you know, birds wake up, they sing, they do this, like. Ducks in the spring, they come, they nest, you know, all that stuff. And I thought I really knew nature really well, but when I went hunting, I was like, oh my gosh, like I was like, there's so much that I didn't know that, you know, like I would never have known if I didn't start hunting, right? You know, just from tracking, like learning how to track, learning how to read
identify edge covers.
You have edge covers, you know, habitat, looking at the weather. How does that play in your hunt throughout the day? You know,
I like to call it collecting the variables.
Yeah, exactly.
And playing your hand.
Exactly.
You know?
And I'm like, I had like this moment where I was like, oh my God, like I've been missing out on this whole time, you know, like.
It's half the fun.
Yeah, you know, so I was like, people are probably missing out on this too. Like, you know, hikers and bird watchers. Like they think they know how, they think they have an intimate relationship from watching birds. They don't know until they go hunting. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, I need to get people out here. You know.
Well, and maybe they know a lot about the bird, but maybe they don't know as much how crafty some of these birds are.
Yeah.
And how much they have such a desire to live. And that's where I've gotten a lot of fond respect for some of these different species is, especially on old rooster, he'll double back way quicker than a buck will on a deer drive.
You know, or they'll fly off right when they hear the door pull up, right? Or the car pull up, you know. That's crazy.
One of the things I'm guilty of because I like to talk. But I also try my best and to not, you know, make too much noise at the truck.
Yeah.
But I've seen them fly off when you pull into the damn parking lot.
Yep. Yeah. So, you know, with that whole like moment where I was like, oh, okay, like I've been missing out on this my whole life. I need to, you know, connect people with this too as well. So that's how I kind of started mentoring. I started with my friends, like close friends, right?
Sure.
They never hunted. Their families don't hunt.
Okay.
But they're Hmong as well, and so the Hmong community is really big in hunting.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, I was like, hey, you guys need to, you know, get out here and bring some wild game back to your parents. Like they'll love it. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh yeah, especially coming from, you know, the traditions that they had. And the difference in growing up here.
Right.
I mean, wild game probably be a delicacy.
Yes. Like they crave wild game. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, they're like, okay, yeah, we'll try it out. You know, so, and, you know, that's where it kind of started. And so from each of my friends that I mentored, you know, I kind of just wrote down about what worked, what didn't work with them, right?
Sure.
What got them intrigued, what was the quickest route to get them into the field and stuff like that. And then from there, after my second season of hunting, I started a meetup club. And that's where meetup is just an app where mostly like people who are from out of state moved into the state. And so they're looking for activities and people to connect with. And so it's easier to find people.
Kind of just a social media kind of outlet for groups too. Different. I mean, I guess I can't promote the app. I don't know much about it anymore, but it's something I even use myself when we moved to this Twin Cities here to find friends for my wife and I. I don't want to admit too much of that, but you know, we moved and I worked with a bunch of old guys and my wife worked in home care.
Yeah.
So, you know, she worked with a bunch of old women typically, you know, and nothing against them, but you know, we were in our late 20s and early 30s and we didn't have any friends.
Yeah.
You know, so we had to use different
Exactly. So I used that, and you know, I got a couple people involved. You know, I got them through their hunter safety, going clay shooting,
which is a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Commitment. My daughter wanted, and for 4 years now, there's been this or that why she hasn't gone and done it. And she's very much like you. Where she just couldn't ever envision herself killing an animal. And even with the dogs now, you're starting to see an interest now. And she just kind of turned 18 and, you know, she's starting to become an adult a lot more than it's scary. But anyways, the interest is coming back again. And I've never been a fan of pushing. The option's there, you know, I'm there to support you if this is something you want to do, and even with friends and stuff. But you know, it's not my place to say you have to live this way or want to do that.
Yeah.
I give you the option and all my support to help. But so I
and a puppy. That would probably help her. If you give her a new puppy, that would probably really help push her.
Well, we've been talking about these things because, you know, we're trying to build a bigger place to have more dogs down the road, and she wants to live in the city yet, and she goes, well, what are we gonna? If you give me a puppy, what are we gonna do? And Well, you're gonna have to come to the farm and learn to hunt her.
Yep. There you go.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Another thing we talked about with Eric last week, or a couple weeks ago, was how much that puppy or the dog and the connection to hunting also with kids, or really, I'm hearing anyone, yep, to get involved in hunting. It, just having that purpose and the bond together.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. I mean, who doesn't love a dog or a puppy, right? So
I don't know many people who don't.
Yeah.
I see most of them and I just want to take them home.
Right. Yeah. And, so like to go back, so, I started getting people out that I didn't know, getting them introduced to the outdoors, right? Showing them the reasons, why people hunt, how to hunt. And then, my third year, I do it too as well because, it gives me more opportunities to be out in the field myself, right? And because I'm such a new hunter, I'm like, I need to get out as much as I can as well and like learn myself, right? And
key, always be learning.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one of the reasons I love upland hunting so much. Is it's not the same repeat as like deer hunting or even duck hunting to some degree when you're going to the same duck spots.
Yeah.
You got your spots for bird hunting, but you tend to work them differently depending on conditions with bird hunting. And then the amount of exploration that goes into,
oh my gosh,
it's like the never ending what's around the corner. It's like an adventure every time. And that's and then it's with your dog. And it's just like dogs on the road. We're going for an adventure. Yeah.
I realize now that it takes me about almost an entire season to pattern ducks on a specific lake. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like, but once I pattern it, like it's golden. Like, it's easy.
Yes, until another variable shows up.
Which your prey does it.
Well, and a variable could be just some guy in his canoe sitting not too far from where you want to go hunting, and it's happened.
Yeah,
and I guess that's kind of a little bit of a segue we can use into some other topics. Geez, these dogs! I got to excuse that. Keng had to come over and experience a day that we had rain all day, and the dogs have been stuck inside for 2 days now, and I didn't get a chance to run them, and I got nobody here to help.
No worries.
Yeah, so they're going nuts upstairs, but they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll try to edit the noise out. But duck hunting and kind of that, even bird hunting to that sense, you pulling into a spot and seeing a hunter there.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you're almost disappointed to the point where you think you might, your day is not going to go out as planned.
Yeah.
And I don't know. If I was a deer hunter or a duck hunter, I would be more upset. But because of the adventure aspect of bird hunting, it's like,
exactly.
Just drive down the road.
Yep. I look at more of that adventure aspect because, like when I pull up and there's somebody else, I'm like, the first thing that comes in my head was like, oh shit, they beat me here. And then,
everybody's head.
Yeah. And I got, okay, now where do I go? Because I need to find these birds. You know what I mean? So, you're pulling everything you've learned throughout the years, all the areas that you walked and, what's working, what's not to find that next spot. Right. And so it's fun. It's like something you would never know unless you don't hunt. Right. Something you would not know unless you hunt. So.
Oh yeah. Grouse camp last year, I'd go up with a group of guys that kind of went to high school together in northern Wisconsin. They went to school here in the cities, but we go one of these honey holes I got. The conditions had changed. It was like I knew the birds were going to be there because the snow showed up. They needed some protection. So one of the only places that like they got it.
Yeah,
food, protection, water, everything right there. And we pulled on the road, parked the truck, and two guys from like South Virginia or something like West Virginia or like South Carolina, somewhere over there. They drive past me and they park 100 yards up on the road ahead of me. And they walk straight into the side of the road that I want to go into. And, most guys would be pissed.
Yeah.
And I had two buddies that didn't really know what was going on anyways. And, at least from, what side of the road were we going to hunt on? And I made a comment and I go, that's not the most ethical, but we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and prove these guys that we're going to go shoot some birds.
Yeah.
We went back there and shot 3 birds. I think we missed 2 woodcock or 3 woodcock. They never shot. We came back out. Truck's gone. We never heard a gun go off.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of that we walked the other side, which was less of a likelihood that the birds were going to be there. But, kind of being a good sport about everything and letting other people do their thing and taking the other side of the road instead of making a conflict.
Right.
Turned into a really good opportunity for us. And, it didn't turn out so good for them. And at the end of the day, they were the ones that probably made the wrong decision. But I didn't hold it against them.
Right.
It's just kind of the way it goes on public land. Yeah.
That's just how it is on public land. Like I've had an instance where, somebody got mad because we were out pheasant hunting during deer season. And I'm like...
I was deer hunting?
Yeah. And I was like... And I was brand new, right, to hunting. I was like,
oh yeah.
And I didn't really know. I understand.
After meeting you a little bit, I can't imagine. You'd feel real big and tall with a guy breathing down your neck, especially being new into hunting.
Right. So I was like, okay, I guess. Like, I mean, I understand. I didn't understand why he was mad. Let's just say that. But now I kind of understand why he was mad. And I wouldn't make that situation happen again, right? You
learn something from it.
You learn something from it, but. On the flip side of it too is that people have to understand too that it is public land, right? And people can do what they want,
They can.
So it's like
it's a balance.
It's a balance, yeah.
It's a balance, and it takes efficacy on both sides. Yes. It's never a one-sided equation, especially if there's a confrontation. Like in your equation, you learn something from it. You realize that hey, that guy's probably deer hunting. I should probably next time pass this spot up or maybe work it differently. Maybe I can help him deer hunting and maybe he won't be so mad at me, And I've even done that sometimes where I've seen guys deer hunting and it's like, well, I wanted to work this thing this way, but if there's still a good edge here that we can work. And if we go in there, we're going to kick all the deer his way anyways. And I can't say I've been to anybody else's success, but we respected our boundaries.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And so, even that, just learning that what's ethical or what's the right way to hunt too, that's something that you can't learn from a textbook, right? You need a mentor almost to learn that. Exactly. And so, that's where I kind of wanted to start Minnesota Hunter is because, obviously I love Minnesota. It's like probably I think it's the greatest state in the U.S. But,
we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. And
I like Wisconsin. But that's okay.
Yeah.
I live up close to, I'll teeter between the two states.
Yeah. And then, so I was like, I wanted to start Minnesota Hunter because I wanted to get people outdoors, connect them back to nature, right? Show them that moment that I felt outdoors, oh my gosh, there's so much to learn still. And, I thought I knew everything already.
There's a lot of cogs in this wheel.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's where I started. And, I'm still doing one-to-one mentoring, right? But I'm trying to now transition it to a website and put all that I know onto a website and try to, because everything's going to a digital world. Oh, yeah. With social media and the younger generation, the iPad babies, right? Like,
I deleted Facebook 10 years ago and I just got back on it because of this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's just, it's unfortunately, it's fortunate and unfortunate. It's a double-edged sword.
Yep.
It's a great medium, but it also can, lead to an easy place to vent.
Yeah. And even in the outdoor industry, it's hard to find, a centralized spot to show you how to hunt or tell you how to hunt, right? I mean, there's articles you can read about and
not even that. Just being able to find a mentor, is tough. So much of I would call the old guard in hunting is in fishing. I think it's exacerbated even more in fishing sometimes. But that fishing spot. Can't tell anybody about it. and hunting is very much similar. It's a very non-inclusive group.
Yes.
And we're going to touch on some of that a little bit more of what your mission is towards the end of the podcast.
Yep.
Towards just continual recruitment and inclusivity towards, because it's part of my mission as well.
Yeah.
And it's, again, why, I think we connected so well on wanting to do this. But, what do you do the one-on-one mentoring, you're building this website.
Yep.
The hunting community traditionally isn't so inclusive.
Yes.
We've got all these, I would call, strike marks against us in new hunter recruitment. How has it been going with your mentoring? You've been doing it 4 years. You're kind of expanding now. Who are you taking on this year? You taking on a couple hunters already, or do you have subjects, I should say?
Yeah. So turkey season, this coming up turkey season, I'm taking
a couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks. I'm taking out. I targeted hikers. So on Facebook, I joined hiking groups. Try to find hikers.
Well, that's one of the unique things. You're not trying to recruit from the same pool,
right? I'm not. So I'm like, anywhere people or organizations are touching nature, right? That's the people I want to go after as well. You know what I mean? Because they're already halfway there.
You got to teach me a little bit. So, anyways, because it's part of my mission, and I'm kind of dipping in the same pool a little bit, or preaching to the same choir. So like I said, we're going to work together on a few things. But anyways, that is, how did you find success in all that? Because it seems like daunting to some people probably to, well, I like to hunt, but I'm willing to share a little bit, but I don't want to share everything. And, that's still that protective manner of some of the knowledge in the industry, or spots, or just how to, I'll be honest, I don't know that I want to take everybody to my best tree stand, but I'm willing to share that with people who are willing to kind of show me that they want to do it.
Right.
And so going into these forums and other chat groups and recruiting non-hunters, like, I think I heard you reference in another podcast that it was like somebody who has really passion about what they do.
Yes.
And have you found success by targeting people that specifically?
Yeah, I have. So one of my
I'm trying to give some listeners like ideas of what they can do to kind of help in their area or their life to make an impact to some other people and try to get more people involved in outdoor recreating.
Yeah, definitely. Mentoring, you have to have a connection to each other first, right? You have to really trust that person. That person has to trust you. If you don't have that trust, you're not going to be able to
It's about any relationship.
Yeah, any relationship. So you have to build that first. Mentoring, it does, on my part, it takes a lot of my time away. It keeps me busy with scheduling, stuff we're going to do to get ready for the hunt. And then also, challenges me as a mentor, right? My skills as well. And so a lot of factors play into it. But at the end of the day, when you are recruiting a non-hunter, and they show passion, they show interest already into it, it's easy to bring them along the rest of the way.
Sure. I mean, they got some skin in the game at some point.
Exactly. And so,
but back a little bit, what were some tricks that you used to kind of, hey, you got somebody in hiking, right?
Yep.
How do you transit? What is a better transition? Deer hunting in a tree stand isn't a good transition for that person because they like hiking.
Yeah.
So, obviously there's a natural transition to kind of like upland bird hunting or something where there's some more physical aspect to it. But what else helped?
Just talking to them. Yeah. That was it. Just talk to them. Like, be honest and genuine with them, right? And when you do that, they catch on to that, and they show, and then you're showing your passion as well. And so that really reflects onto what they see.
Attracts people.
Yeah, it attracts people, right? Yeah. So exactly. So my apprentice, turkey hunting, it's really good in the Southeast where there's those bluffs, and hikers.
Hunted down there before.
And hikers, they like to go hike, right? They like a challenge. And I connected the two. I was like, all right, turkeys in the bluff and hikers. A hiker will like turkey hunting because they'll actually hike as well,
Well, and moreover than like bird hunt, like upland hunting, you got the dog involved, and say people don't have a dog, right? There's a connection with turkey hunting through the calling aspect of it, and it's very, very exciting for somebody who's never seen a gobbler gobble back after a reaction to something they've done. That's how I got really hooked into kind of like wanting to guide people was getting that connection.
Oh yeah,
made.
showing that moment, like
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've probably done it a few times now.
Mhm.
It's an enlightening moment for somebody.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can see the light bulb in that, and it builds that passion
Mhm.
for something, and you know you've been successful.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I, with my apprentice for turkey hunting, she hikes a lot. Like she'll go like 2-3 hours to go hike every weekend. I was like kind of stalking her on Facebook, watching her post in the hiking group. And I was like, okay, this is the most dedicated hiker I've seen in this group so far. So I'm going to reach out to her, because if she's willing to drive 2 hours just to hike, let's go turkey hunting, right?
Yeah, right.
And you know what? You're going to not stay on a trail. You're going to walk off the trail, in the unbeaten path. And just doing that, I told her, on our messages and our conversations, it's like, you'll experience so much more from a turkey hunt and your hike to the hunt, right? Versus like going on a hiking trail, so like, and I think that's what kind of intrigued her. I also told her too that, just being out there and seeing nature wake up beneath your feet, gives you so much more appreciation will give you so much more appreciation for hiking itself as well. So
absolutely. I mean, it's
yeah.
Well, and then just the excitement of turkey hunting in itself.
Yeah.
The morning,
Yes.
watching the sun come up, the springtime, the nostalgia in the setting.
Yes.
And then you throw gobbling birds in on top of it.
Yep.
And it's a mix of anybody who likes adrenaline.
Yeah.
Or, that's maybe why they go hiking is for some of the adrenaline. They will definitely love turkey hunting if you can put that mix together.
Yeah. I know. I really hope we get her that turkey because, that will just seal the deal, right? It'll turn her into a hunter. But I don't think she's expecting that yet. She's more interested in just the process itself right now. She went out and bought her own gun. She finished her hunter safety course by herself. And like, I didn't have to do any pushing at all. All started with just a conversation saying, hey, I see that you like hiking. You're really into it. Let's go turkey hunting. If you don't like it, you can bail out. I have all the gears. Don't go heavy on the gear spending. Go cheap, right?
Hey, before you leave here today, I do want you to know, if you need anything for any of these kind of hunts, give me a call.
Okay.
I've got a lot of stuff. I'd
sure.
be happy to borrow it to you if I'm not using it. So I have, enough to outfit a small, army of turkey hunters or deer hunters or bird hunters.
Yeah, I know. So, your listeners should see your shed full of DSD decoys. Joking.
No decoys. I do have a few in the back shed.
Yeah,
but not many.
Yeah, no.
But definitely. I can even donate those to you. Actually, you know what? You might want to take those.
Thank you for letting me borrow your decoys, or your gear. But yeah.
No, yeah, I get it. I'm just letting you know. You've got just. You've kind of inspired me a little. Geez, my little Miss Luna really wants to come down here and sniff you.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but she's been whining for like a half an hour.
But yeah, so it's she my apprentice, she's shown great things so far from what I've seen, and so I know it's not going to be it won't be difficult to put it in the field. So
have you had some success down in Southeast before?
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad actually showed me how to turkey hunt again, because I was like, Dad, let's go turkey hunt because it's spring, you want to get outdoors still. Oh, yeah. And so last year was my first year turkey hunting.
Really?
Yeah. And so, I learned a lot the whole experience already. Like,
did you hunt every season you could?
Yeah. So I hunted season A with my dad. We came up on like maybe 10, 12 gobblers. We hunted from opener till Sunday, that season, and we couldn't get one because my dad, he can't sit still. He likes to walk in stock.
Oh yeah,
and
I tend to. I can relate.
I like to sit there, right? I like to watch the whole strutting coming in and stuff like that. And so it didn't work out. But then B season, I took my friend out. On his first turkey, we got him a tom.
Well, a lot changes in those first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And even depending on the season, you may walk into the first week and it could be like week 3 of the year before.
Right.
Which is where the breeding's at. And that has just purely to do with weather variables.
Yep.
and climate conditions.
Yep.
I'm interested to see where they're going to be at this year. Because it sounds like the first week you went last year, they were still all in the bachelor group.
Yes, they were still like at the edge of the field, right on the tree lines, you know, looking down into the bluffs, right? And there were just lots of groups. Let's just say that. But yeah, and then so B season, we got my friend one. Season C, we got my friend another one. My other friend one, and then I went out. What is it? Season F. Because you know you can only hunt season F after if you don't take out, you got to go to F.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So,
I'm a little less familiar with Minnesota's route. I've hunted down in Southeast twice, and I had early seasons. So
yeah, so after learning what I did from A, B, and C, mentoring B and C, season F, I finally went out and. On the last day of the season, I got a Jake.
Nice.
Yeah, but I wasn't thrilled. I don't know. I wasn't, because I saw two of my friends.
Hey, those Jakes eat really well.
They do. We ate that bird right away.
Oh,
so.
They're tender. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from. It's not something that that you got a lot to hang your hat on.
Yeah, exactly. And
hey, there's Jake tail fan right there.
But it was fun. I mean, I was out there by myself at that time because it was late in the spring. Nobody's hunting anymore. Last day, I think that was when the riots were happening too.
Oh,
yeah, and so there was a lockdown, so I had to get out there. Like, I couldn't get out there earlier than what I wanted, right?
Sure.
So, but it worked out because the 3 Jakes came into the decoys. I got one. I was happy I tagged, but then I didn't have that like shaking adrenaline fever feeling, right? I
mean, you shoot a big long bird, it's a big difference.
It is.
But at that point too, hunting quite a bit for the season. Yeah,
Yep. Exactly.
I got something.
Exactly.
And there's an appreciationness and the humbleness, really, I think, for, they're crafty birds.
Yep. Also, I get to go home and not get yelled at by my dad. And
well, and to all those guys that say turkey hunting's easy, they've never hunted turkeys on public land in southeastern Minnesota.
Ooh, I tell you, I was winded. Like those bluffs, my dad was like, all right, we're going to climb up this bluff. And I was like, it's like almost like 90 degrees. You know what I mean? And my dad's like, yeah. And he's just like, he walks through it like it's a wheat field, And I'm like, what the heck? And he's like 50, like mid 50s. I'm like, I walk up like 2 steps and I'm already out of breath, needing to sit down, trying to find my balance, all that stuff. And he's like, all right, you just sit on top of this bluff and I'm going to go down the bluff and climb up the other side and look for turkeys and come back. I'm like, and he's gone for like an hour and a half and he comes back. I'm like, dang, you walked through all that? And he goes, yep. I was like, you're crazy.
Well, we're going a little long on our outline here. No, I don't mean to cut you off. I've got a dog upstairs who's really going to have to do some editing, I think.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I might have to do a segment part of a little commercial in between. But let's try to, I did want to mention this too, and we talked about this on the phone. If you have an opportunity, because you've never grouse hunted.
Correct. I've never grouse hunted.
Yeah, and I would, if you have somebody that either is through the program and from a hunter safety aspect, and maybe did something else last season that might really like walking in the woods rather than the field or something, I'd love to give you some time this fall and donate a weekend or something to you.
Yeah.
And we talked about that in the past. So let's make sure that we follow through with that, because I would really like to take you or your dog and somebody else who hasn't experienced that, because it's a different hunt.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun, and it's a different feel to it than the vast prairie. There's a element of, we're wandering through the woods here and I feel like I could get lost. And that's kind of fun too. It's just a different feeling.
Yeah. Everybody always tells me that. All my hunting friends too, like when they do grouse hunt, they're like, yeah, you need to get out and grouse hunt with your dog. And I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't want to go. I don't want to go grouse hunting. Grouse hunting is because my dog's a heavy charger, so she'll push through anything. So I'm scared she's gonna wreck herself in those woods, right?
Oh yeah,
and so if I can't help my dog, then I don't want to hunt, right? And so
that's part of the reason I've got two.
Yeah.
But the other thing is yeah, I've seen dogs get, not personally, but seen them on shows where they get impaled in the eye by sticks. My one dog, she had honeysuckle that got impaled into her chin last year, and just a month of not really knowing what was going on, no hole in her chin or anything.
Right.
Finally, it came out, anyways, it's just there is that element to it. I understand your concern, but. Yeah. We'll run my dogs.
Okay. Yeah, no, I look forward to that. And I think we can definitely get some new hunters out there as well.
Well, and I think it'd be fun maybe to have you back on the podcast later and just kind of talk about the hunt. And so I think it's a great kind of story in itself. And I just want to make sure that we follow through with that this year, because I would really like to your story, your uniqueness in your story, and just kind of the effort that you're putting in. It's just kind of, I feel like I want to help you do what you're doing, because you're doing what needs to be done.
Thank you.
Our community for the longest time, and we touched on it earlier, the fishing spots, the hunting spots, some of the knowledge that's outside of the family unit, it's not the most inclusive.
It's not. I learned that from duck hunting right away. Like nobody was willing to help. I mean, it was tough.
And I've been guilty of it myself. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I mean, earlier in my life, I didn't want to share anything. But, I've found that if you're willing to share with other people your knowledge or lessons learned, it comes back to you tenfold.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, tenfold.
It does, yep.
And you don't always know how it's coming back. It might not come back for that walleye spot for walleye spot.
Yeah.
But if you don't look at it that way, it's amazing how enriched I think your life gets in this community.
It does.
It's like you have to extend your hand first, almost.
Yes.
And then there's some warmthness to it. But it's definitely something that I think through finding people that have other outdoor passions and bringing them in, hopefully that will also drive more inclusivity.
Yes.
And I think that's what you're really trying to do at Minnesota Hunter.
Yes, exactly.
And we're getting a little long-winded here, so I want to give you an opportunity to kind of tell us what your mission is. I know you haven't developed something totally yet from a pen and paper pretty standpoint, but I think just kind of give us the skinny on Minnesota Hunter, how people can reach out to you, what you're trying to do, and if people are maybe interested in also helping you or volunteering, whatever it is. I'm going to give you the mic and just give us all kind of the detail on this.
So Minnesota Hunter, you can find me at Minnesota-hunter.com.
Your Minnesota spelt out.
Yep, Minnesota spelt out.
Okay.
Also on Facebook, Minnesota Hunter. Yep. And Instagram is just my personal name, so Keng Yeng 1.
Okay. And I'll include all of this in the show notes. But go ahead. Yeah, so
like the mission behind why I wanted to start Minnesota Hunter is to make it hunting inclusive, right? Make hunting inclusive, because when I started pheasant hunting, I had my dad as a mentor, and he showed me great knowledge, right? I was very fortunate and lucky there, but when I started duck hunting, there was no one to help me.
Sure.
And my dad doesn't duck hunt. Yeah. He loves ducks because he has an emotional tie to ducks, because he's like, oh, the mom's taking their families home and they're coming back. Why are you shooting them? So, like there was no one there to help me duck hunt, right? But I know ducks very well, and so I use everything I knew about ducks from bird watching and studying them, and so that really helped me hone in my skills and being successful in duck hunting. So the research and all the biology behind ducks, I use that as well, and so I was able to find out my own spots, figure out what worked for me, and the journey would have been quicker if I had a mentor, right, or someone who was willing to share and bring me under their wing. But I couldn't find anyone, and there was no one there. I mean, you can watch all the YouTube videos you want, but it's not the same. And I learned that from pheasant hunting.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, there really isn't anything that is a replacement for putting boots on the ground.
There's not.
You can get a knowledge base built, so when you put boots on the ground, you can start to apply some of these things. But it doesn't come full circle. You don't gain that wisdom until you either short circuit the system kind of through mentorship, or you go through a bunch of trial and failure with boots on the ground in the field or in the stand, whatever it is.
Yeah. And so what I want Minnesota Hunter to do is provide that, right, on a digital platform, right? So I want somebody who's new to hunting, never hunted before, to be able to go to Minnesota Hunter and be like, okay, I'm ready to go hunt. I know where to hunt, how to hunt. I can.
Oh yeah,
I can look at
you keep going once. I'm gonna go. The people are gonna hear this a little bit, but you keep going.
I'll wait.
No. You go ahead.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna have to edit otherwise. We'll just roll this out. The dogs are part of this household. Okay. So keep telling people here about your brand real quick. I'm just gonna let some dogs down. Okay. We're gonna see if we can make this work. Okay. And if not, we'll edit. Okay. We'll redo some of the Minnesota Hunter stuff. Okay. But hopefully we don't have to. Yeah. It's part of the show, man. Yeah. It's organic.
Organic, right? Yeah. So Minnesota Hunter. What I want for people to do is, or people to see, is when they go to the website, they can learn how to hunt and be able to hunt by themselves for the first time. And so that is the goal, Brian.
Awesome.
And just show people that it can be done, right? And have someone there to hold their hand, because I'm a hand holder. Like, I need someone to hold my hand in almost anything I do as well, right? And so
dogs in the studio.
Here they come. And so again, I just want people to be able to look at Minnesota Hunter or go to Minnesota Hunter and find out that the information there is very useful for them and will help them have a successful first hunt on their own. So
and dogs licking me, running bike booms.
Yeah.
All right, girls. Outside. You're not going to go outside? They're saying we should wrap this thing up.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, so
so I don't want to steal any thunder, but everybody's gonna have to excuse some dogs here. Yeah. It's just the way things panned out today. And Keng's lucky enough to come to my house, so you gotta meet the family.
Thank you for having me, man.
I really appreciate you coming over.
Yeah,
the audio quality hopefully sounds a lot better than doing things through the phone. So, but what can we do to help? That's the biggest thing, I think. Girls. I do have mute buttons on this thing too, so
here they go again.
Oh boy.
No worries. Let them hash it out.
Yeah, they're gonna hash it out, regardless of whether or not it's down here or upstairs.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have my hands full when you leave.
Yeah, I mean, so you asked, what can you guys do to help? I think you're listening. Oh boy.
This is what happens when you have. I don't know if I'm going to. I'm going to listen to it.
Yes.
I want to make sure that this doesn't interfere with your message.
Oh yeah, no, it won't.
I'm a few notes from editing. The moment I knew it affected Keng's message. Lesson learned. Don't let the dogs in the podcast studio after being lazy in the morning and not taking them for a run. All right. After running dogs upstairs that wanted to fight in the middle of our podcast here.
Yeah.
Getting a little antsy for Dad to go play with them.
Yeah. No, that was funny.
Well, that's what happens when you get rain for a couple days. Yeah. And I've been super busy the last 2 days. I know you have too. So it's just kind of, that's what you get in the evening around here.
Yep.
So
totally understandable.
Anyways, let's make sure I want to get this message off the right way. Mm-hmm. And I apologize about the dogs interrupting after an hour of scratching at the door and whining. I don't know why I even bothered, but I tried.
Yeah.
We had to make an introduction to the dogs.
Yeah. They need to get in their voice too. Yeah.
So we kind of went through your mission.
Yeah.
And I was trying to ask you, what can people do to help?
Yeah. I think what people can do to help, and your listeners can do to help, is, just continue hunting, right? And, and as every other organization's out there saying, recruitment, right?
Yep.
Keep bringing someone new to the outdoors. And then also on top of that, share that secret, right?
It doesn't have to be everything.
Yeah,
either.
It doesn't have to be everything.
It doesn't have to be your golden goose. I mean, you don't whack the golden goose.
Yeah.
Because it's laying golden eggs, right?
Right.
But you can share a golden egg once in a while.
Right, exactly.
And I think if you can give somebody just one tidbit of information, and they can go out and have a good experience outdoors,
yep,
you have them hooked.
Yep, exactly.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes, yeah.
All it takes.
Yep.
And it's nothing, no real skin, especially if you own private land and you happen to know where some birds are or something on public land. What's the skin in that game?
Right.
It's nothing to you.
Yeah.
And I think that information piece and the inclusivity piece is what really has stumbled some of our recruitment growth, especially organically.
Yeah.
It's their heritage tradition-wise, but through new hunter recruitment. And that's, again, why I really wanted to get you on the podcast today, because it's unique. It's a different approach. So people can give a little secret. I mean, how much time do you have into some of these interns versus maybe some people that you just inspired to go out and try something different? Like, obviously somebody you get through the whole hunter safety program and all the recruitment time. I mean, you've got hours and hours and hours invested into that person. But on the small side, besides just a tidbit of information, like, how much time does that actually take of your day to help where you feel that you made an impact? So a listener could maybe take that approach and just reach out to somebody, spark up a conversation.
It shouldn't feel like you're having to work too hard for it, right? So like for me, I don't really know a time. I know it takes a lot of my time because I'm talking to them, messaging them, and we're chatting back and forth, but that takes up time. But to me, it doesn't feel like it's taking up time because it's just, all right, I got a message, just got to respond to it, right?
Yeah.
And it's doable now with the number of apprentices I have, right? But the biggest time takeaway is, the actual day of the hunt.
Yeah.
That's something you have to really plan for, and you have to sacrifice your time that weekend, especially weekends.
Oh,
right?
yeah. You probably don't get out too many weekdays.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Especially working a full-time job, expecting the other person is too.
Yes, exactly. So you have to plan, a weekend for them, if not 2 or 3 weekends for them.
Sure.
Depending on how good of a spot you put them on.
Right. And in a, duck hunting.
Yeah.
9 weekend season.
Yeah. I think
10 maybe
more than that. I don't know.
It's not that many weekends when you actually break it down. It's 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
So I mean 12 at most.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So it just all depends on how that does, or how soon you could get them to harvest their first animal. So
and do you see it's that crux or culmination of things that is really what makes him continue and come back the next season?
I think so. When you walk through that whole process from start to finish, and and then they realize that it's taken that much time and effort, then that's what really gets them hooked on hunting.
Sure.
So,
and I mean, I'm assuming you're teaching them along the way. I fond respect, Keng. I really enjoy what you're doing, and I really want to help you out here through as both of us grow with our kind of our missions, because they definitely align in what we're maybe we're trying to get the same thing done just through some different avenues.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
and if there's any way we can work together and help you out with that, I'm all on board. I really enjoy what you're doing. It's a big passion of mine. It's kind of why I started the guide business, because seeing that connection develop or exposing somebody to something different is really been so fulfilling for me.
Oh yeah. when you see that person's face, you know, when they shoot their first pheasant, or even like I was saying this on the podcast with the Flush too, that my friend, he went out, but he didn't duck. I mean, he didn't hunt, but he wanted to be out there, right?
Sure.
And so when, you know, duck opener, and you know, it just sounds like thunder, like cannons sounding off in the distance, and he's like, "Oh my god, that was so cool!" You know, like I was like, "Yes, that's what I wanted to see." You know,
is he coming back?
Yeah, he doesn't have a dog yet, but you know, he definitely wants to be outdoors still and wants to go hunt when he can. So,
are you going to get him through a hunter's education?
Oh, he's already gotten all that.
So yeah. He went out duck hunting, non-hunter, heard the thunder bang, not even, you know.
Yeah, not even shoot a duck.
Yeah.
And he loved it.
Yeah. See, and I think, you know, people underestimate that interaction.
Yeah,
that's
I think they
nothing.
do.
I mean, you let them come along.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't get that from, you know, programs where you're saying, all right, meet me here today and we're going to hunt a deer and then that's it. You know what I mean? Like,
it's too rigid.
It's too rigid. You know, it's so intricate hunting. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you have to have that personal interaction and the ability to, because hunting and wildlife in general is wild.
Yep.
In its essence, it's almost non-predictable.
Yes.
You can learn things, apply your wisdom, and I think boost your success rate. But there's always that wild factor.
Yep.
I mean, they're going to be there sometimes, and then 10% of the time, no matter what you do, they're just not going to be there.
Yeah.
And you can't predict that.
Yeah.
So when you're introducing people, it's not, you know, that first hour out of the truck, it might not happen. You know, it's a commitment.
Yep.
And I think people underestimate what kind of commitment it is, but then how big of an impact it can make.
Right.
And, you know, sometimes just a little commitment can make a very big impact.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I'm trying to get with Minnesota Hunter as well, is that I want somebody to go on the website and also see that, you know, they can, instead of me just, you know, focusing, you know, because there's just me, right? So I can only mentor so many people in the field, right? And so what I want is to be able to have other people who I can't give my time to be able to look at Minnesota Hunter and learn how to hunt, right? And have that successful first hunt by themselves, you know.
You need to recruit a bunch of Kengs. You need an army of Kengs running out there.
I need to replicate myself a couple of times.
You know, we're gonna keep talking. Yeah. I got some ideas rolling around in my head, because there's a lot of organizations out there, as you know, with Pheasants Forever, QF. I mean, I think you have been on a couple different podcasts.
Just the Flush.
Just the Flush.
Yep.
Okay.
And then what's the other one? It's the one up north.
Anyways, I want to help. Yeah. I really love your message, and again, I really thank you for coming over today. And
thanks for having me, Ryan.
Before we wrap this up, is there anything else you want in closing?
I guess the only thing I want to say is, you know, again, thanks for having me, right? And I look forward to some of the stuff we can do together in the future.
I think we can do a lot of stuff together.
Yeah.
So and it's very exciting to meet somebody else with a similar mission and a similar passion. Yeah, and you know let's make hunting more inclusive, right? And let's open it up to people, right? Make more people realize how much hunting will bring you back to not just nature, but back to yourself, to your family, to your health, you know, all that stuff, you know. And so it's, you know, us humans. Yeah. It wasn't too long ago that we were living out there. Right. And at least hunting gives that connection. Yes. Yeah. And it really does. And I think even more so when you're able to mentor somebody, especially in today's digital world. Yes. How much of an impact that truly is. Yep. And that's kind of why I want to, you know, have the podcast. And so we can talk about different hunting related topics. So it's maybe one of these topics just inspires somebody to get out of their comfort zone, take the neighbor kid, or just go try something else for that matter. You never know who you're going to meet through the process. Yeah, you never know. Yeah. And the reward will be great. I can guarantee that. I mean, anytime you get to hunt or fish, it's always great.
Yes.
Because you're not working.
Yep.
And much like you and I, we're trying to gel that together.
Yeah.
So.
After work, planning, so yeah.
No, excellent. Well, Keng, thank you so much for coming over.
Yeah.
I will include all of this information on the podcast.
Cool.
If any of my listeners want to reach out to you, they'll have the information.
Cool.
Hopefully we can get you back later this year and talk about maybe planning a grouse hunt with somebody, and then, even a post-hunt podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
It's amazing to kind of see how much the response we're getting in such a short period of time. And I've got lots of ideas and just kind of want to bring valuable content like this and inspire other people. So thank you so much for helping me do that.
Yeah.
And I hope we can help you in the process.
Oh, for sure. I can already see it already. You're already helping me already. So.
All right, cool, man.
All right.
Well, we're going to wrap that up for today. And again, thanks again for coming over, and stay tuned afterwards for a little bit of information about Keng and the guide business. Thanks for listening.